So, my final project was titled Forgotten Connection. And my little tagline is a series of paintings exploring the sense of human connection and wonderfully mundane beauty found within forgotten moments of temporary human existence. So the kind of purpose of this project was to highlight everyday moments that we kind of miss. These moments of beauty or human connection or just quiet thoughts and emotions that we face that are just so incredibly complicated. Like just the fact that there's a beautiful flower growing is so incredibly complicated. Evolution has created this, and the fact that we're humans and we can interact and we can make connections and we can fall in love or we can have just a conversation. And it's just those little moments throughout our days that, when you have a conversation with someone you love or you notice a really beautiful flower, and sometimes we miss those things because we're so wrapped up in really exciting moments that we like a holiday or a celebration that we've been looking forward to, and those things are great, but also most of our life is spent kind of in the everyday moments, so we need to appreciate that beauty more, and that's what I kind of wanted to capture, just that everyday nostalgia of moments that we might have forgotten but actually were really, really beautiful and made a difference to our day. So I also just really wanted to showcase this in a really calm and lovely way. Sometimes we have to look at really exciting things, and actually sometimes the calm and lovely beautiful things make a real difference within our lives. I think what I found out about myself as an artist within this is I really enjoy making kind of nostalgic and lovely art that's a safe place for people to come and realise good things. I think there is a real place for dark and gory work within the world, and it's really important. But also on the other side of that, there needs to be somewhere where people can come and feel calm and kind of get away from that. And I really like to represent these little moments of innocence and loveliness. So I took photos of them and I saved scraps that kind of meant something to me. And I wrapped it all up in this kind of envelope of lovely colours and authentic painting style. I definitely have found that as an artist I've developed a much more abstract and free way of painting. Definitely at the beginning of the year I was much tighter and all my painting marks kind of had to mean something, whereas now I've come to allow myself to paint in a very free way. It's very authentic. It kind of describes my emotion. You can see the emotion I'm feeling within it. You can see where parts are a bit worn out or parts are really emotion filled, and colours feel like they really mean this kind of warmth that I've noticed, or this season that I love, they kind of come from that. So, and I definitely feel like as an artist I've become better at taking that and having that as a skill, and then also integrating all these collagey parts that like the kind of photos and things, so I can have those two separately and bring them together to make a painting that really means something. It's also very authentic and it's not trying too hard within the painting itself. I think I kind of hope that this project benefits people that come see it and kind of encourages them to look up and see things in the world that they wouldn't really notice otherwise, and really enjoy these little moments, like take advantage of the fact that they see their best friend every day. Like I've seen so many friends every day all year, and that's really stood out to me being at college and being able to do that, and that's something I'm going to miss. But maybe in the moment I wouldn't have even thought about whether that was something I would miss. So it's encouraging people to, when they're inside those moments, appreciate them and how lovely they are and how incredible it is that as humans we've been able to get to that stage where we can do that and have that connection. It's really quite unique. And just encourage people to just look at all the little things that make them happy, the flowers they see, or just like a nice little mug or just something pretty that they have, which I think is just so important. Kind of notice how complex the world is and how wonderful it can be, and enjoy the mundane because it takes up so much of our life. And also notice I kind of have lots of pictures from nature, like blossoms that I've noticed in the garden and how they bloom every spring, and pictures. I've got a picture that really stands out to me of someone looking out to sea and just enjoying that quiet moment of just contemplation. And I think as humans we're really connected to nature because it surrounds us and it's kind of what we came from. So I think I also wanted to have an undertone of that kind of calm connection to nature and beauty, because we see nature as such a beautiful thing, but actually we need to appreciate that we come from that. I think if I were to be able to take the project further and I had more time, I definitely want to look at more of those trinkets people collect that make things that make people's day, things that people surround themselves with and make them unique, because we're all so unique, which is another incredible thing. And what people choose to surround themselves with or people choose to find beautiful is really interesting. I'd also like to string a better film together with a lot of more focus on like these moments, filming these moments so people can look back at them, because photos are one thing, but also I think filming these moments would be really impactful. I definitely would also have liked to get more paintings done to kind of tell this wider story of a whole lifetime. So I think that would be really nice if I'd had more time. I think how my work makes me feel is very calm and relaxed. It kind of puts me into this nostalgic bubble. I can look back through my memories, and it also kind of has a nice feeling of maybe I didn't appreciate those moments then, but because I can look back at them, I can really enjoy them now. It kind of makes me feel a bit more positive about the really boring parts of my life, and it kind of gives me an escape, from all the really stressful parts. I can actually see, well, I'm going to romanticise this, I'm going to make it enjoy the fact that when I got to work, I had a cup of coffee and I had a really lovely conversation. And when I got to that party that I was really nervous about, I spoke to a friend that made me feel really at ease. So it's kind of finding that peace within all the stress of the world. And I also think it gave me a chance to paint really authentically and freely in just a way that feels very natural. I kind of really connected with this sense of calm, and I also connected personally a lot with my photography, as it allowed me to document all the quiet moments, all those moments where my mind kind of goes, this is a beautiful moment, a moment where I'm in a city and I look up and the street is just full of people interacting and connecting, or I see my friends talking, or I just spot someone at the beach looking out to sea. It's all these moments that I kind of I've got to shoot on my film camera, so I've only got to shoot them once. I haven't been able to set these photos up. Film is expensive, I've just had to take it once, and that just feels so authentic compared to years and years of taking very posed photos. So I thought that was really nice, and I really connected with that part of the project. Things I've been listening to that have kind of really influenced me, or kind of watching. I watched the film After Sun at the very beginning of the project, and I think it kind of made me. It was like not too much happened in that film. It wasn't anything near like a action film or a horror film. It was just a film capturing moments of our last holiday. But they didn't know it was going to be a last holiday. So it's really lovely to be able to sit and watch those moments and appreciate all the little things that actually we take for granted. All those moments that were so interesting and unique, and no one knew were going to be the last time, so no one appreciated. So I thought that was really lovely to sit and watch that, and that definitely inspired me towards the beginning of the project. I've also been listening to like this podcast to help me fall asleep, where it's just stories where nothing happens, nothing exciting happens. It's just telling these stories where they go into a lot of detail about all the lovely things, and it really puts your mind at ease. All the lovely things you come across in the day, and when you write your diary before you go to bed, and then you watch the sunset and you hear the birds and all these moments that we might kind of be so stressed that we miss. So that really influenced me to notice all of these little things, and just kind of look at everything in a much more positive way. I also think I listened to Mac DeMarco released this album called One Way and G, where it was 199 songs, and they were all just called like numbers, and it was just so authentic. It was very calming to listen to. It kind of had a feeling like I was travelling through all my old thoughts in this weird kind of interesting journey, and it just felt really authentic. He had all this music and he just put it into one collection where you could kind of, this one sounds upbeat, this one sounds sadder, and it's those moments in life that he'd obviously documented through his music. I think the techniques I've used throughout this project, I've definitely done a lot more collaging. I've used materials I definitely haven't used before, like acetate photos, or I've worked on printing directly onto like fabric. So those were really interesting ways to create texture within my painting that I don't think I've ever done before, and kind of allowing those collage pieces to tell a bit more of a story rather than just a photo. And a photo that's printed on acetate allows it to be really wrapped up in the painting, because you can see the paint behind it and you can paint on top of it, and it feels very much part of the painting instead of just sat on top of it. I also experimented with techniques like felting, to see whether maybe that would be a better background and maybe have a bit more texture and softness, but I just felt like it didn't work. It felt a bit too flat, and I couldn't really intricate things within it, which I think is very important. I wanted my work to feel like different elements all swept up within this nostalgic dream of colour, and I felt like the felt really couldn't quite do that. I was very inspired by Jane Cornwell because she collages in such a free way, using photography and just these really lovely pictures that are kind of very small things. They're just of trees or someone's legs, and just really, really simple things that I thought were really cool. Because she wrapped them up and enveloped them in such free mark making that it just gave them so much meaning. And even all the other artists I've researched that have kind of taught me new painting styles, down to the brush strokes, like dry brushing and mark making by scratching away or scratching in with chalk. It's these kind of things that have really stood out to me and I think made a real difference within my work. And it kind of helped me reach this audience. I mean, I'm hoping I reach this audience of people who are looking for another sense of beauty and really need something to make their daily lives more interesting. People who kind of need to be reminded to look up and notice these things, because they're so caught up in their daily life. Like, I think it's just important to reach people who maybe need to just step back and appreciate the nature and the evolution that led up to this very moment, and how complicated everything is around us, but part of that is beauty and emotion, and it's really spectacular to experience. Even if it's not all positive, it's still really wonderful to be able to experience that emotion. That's still a really, really incredible thing for us to be able to do. I mean, I presented my outcomes on these final 4 pieces, which I'm hoping will really reach people. These final 4 paintings that I've mounted onto wood and I will display as a grid, and I'm hoping people can come up to them and kind of
read my thing and understand what they mean and notice, oh, that's a little piece of fabric, maybe from a dress. That's a photo from like a quiet moment while I was travelling. That's a photo of two people just talking and having a really lovely time. That's a photo of a blossom at the bottom of the garden. That is a piece of lovely paper and a handwritten note. These things that maybe tell a story to people, and they can stop at it and think, oh, I wonder what that moment was. I wonder in that moment what was happening. And it just kind of pieces together almost like a really organic life. I think what really helped me within this project was taking advice from my peers. Example, I went through this really digital route at one point, and I was collaging my photos in a digital way with text that I thought really stood out to me, and I thought it was really monumental. But when I showed it to my peers, they kind of thought the text didn't work, and it kind of took away from the photos and took the mystery away. So I got rid of the text, and also people thought that maybe I had more practical skills and I should embrace those more. So I worked back into those digital pieces. I printed them on fabric and I worked into them, which led me down a different painting route, and then a different painting route, and then back into this collaging with my digital stuff. And it took me on a route that I don't think I would have found otherwise, and I think I would have got stuck creating art that maybe didn't connect with people as much as my final pieces do. So I think it really helped me to lean into my strengths without me realising. So that is definitely something I plan. Ask for advice before just steaming ahead and creating things that appeal to you but maybe don't connect with other people. I also think I definitely am glad I worked to the time I had, and I was happy with the final 4 paintings instead of rushing and creating too many different things that didn't feel finished. So with the very limited time I had, I kind of think I created 4 pieces that to me feel very finished and feel like they really tell a story, instead of lots of a bit rubbish ones. I think I'm going to sum up my final project I've kind of chosen 10 words to sum it up. I think nostalgic, because it kind of is such an opportunity to look back at moments you might have missed, or moments you really didn't miss and you really appreciated. And I think that's so important and really lovely to be able to do. Memories, because I think it's so lovely to remember things, the little things. The fact that we have capacity in our brain to remember those little moments that stand up to us is really wonderful, and to be able to document my memories within this art is really cool. Mundane, because I thought mundane was kind of a really lovely word that has so many negative associations with it. It feels like a boring word. It feels like it means boring and just dull. But I actually think it can kind of mean this everyday routine we have that is really lovely and has some really lovely moments in it, and it's our everyday routine because it's filled with people that we love. We choose to spend our days with these people because we love them, and I think that's something really lovely about mundane. Our mundane lives can be really lovely, so I don't think mundane necessarily has to be a negative word. I've also chosen connections because I really wanted to explore connections we have to other people, to emotions, to music, and to different flowers that we might think are our favourite. You know, these connections we have to things we label as our favourite things, and also this connection to nature, really important. So especially this connection to people and how important and incredible that is. So I think all those connections really make up a really important part of my work. Appreciate, I've put on there because I think we kind of need to appreciate more all these little moments and just how wonderful they can be, how incredible they can be. Moments, because it's these really small little moments. It's not big events that we need to remember in whole, just tiny few second things that would be really nice to appreciate more. Conversations. I think conversations are so important. Even when you have a conversation with someone and you're not exactly saying things, but you're implying things, or you're even just having almost a conversation with your eyes at someone. I think moments like that are so incredible, so unique, and just wonderful to experience. Thoughts, just to be within our thoughts, and that is kind of really, really incredible. To go over your thoughts and to just be still with your thoughts and to be able to experience your thoughts. Watching, to just sit and watch these moments happen around us, or even to just be experiencing them but actually watching every little thing, I thought was important. I also put wonderful, because I just think it's a really lovely word to describe how wonderful everything can be. Things that we kind of necessarily wouldn't notice as wonderful, as lovely, can be really, really spectacular. I also put as a last kind of like statement that I also really enjoyed looking at absolute isolation and thought, being still, being surrounded by nature, being on the beach, compared to being in a city, busy interaction, and just watching all this complicated connection happen around us. So I think that kind of sums up what I wanted everything to mean, and I hope it all makes